Good morning. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Closa. Good morning, Michael. Hey, Michael, you're number 3 today. You were so often number 1. Audrey, how are you? Lori, Karen, Meg, all these faithful followers coming back and back again. Linda, Australia. Jovi, that's Canada, and out in the prairies, out in the wild provinces. Who was that there? That was, oh my eyes, Jimbit Arnold Buxman, wonderful, Oregon. And there's Audrey, that is Hong Kong, right? Or, yeah, I think so, Hong Kong or Singapore, over there somewhere. Audrey, it's so long, you're always coming with groups. Where are you? Patty, good morning. Pennsylvania, you've got a friend in Pennsylvania. I'm going to go someplace else this morning, so just take a look around here because we're not going to do it here today. I'm just going to keep moving. How about that? Just to get another little panorama. Celebrate Sunday. Okay, the sun isn't up yet, but there's no cloud. So as soon as the sun peeps over, actually even before the sun peeps over, oh, I see Mount Hermon, which I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me stop for a second. Because afterwards when the sun comes up, we won't be able to see Mount Hermon for sure. So it's very close to the right of these palm trees. And it's up behind the Mount of Beatitudes. And so you see like trees there. And just to the left of that, so I'll put it right in the very center of the screen to facilitate. So if you can see, there are these 4 palm trees standing together on the left of the screen. And then there's a taller piece of tree sticking out over the reeds. And if you go straight above that, there's a little shady area behind the Mount of Beatitudes. And that shady area is actually Mount Hermon. I think you can see it on your screens. I can on mine, but it's very light. It's not very, very defined and strong. Although to the naked eye, it's a little more defined and strong than on the screen. And then we see these hills over here. Oh, I will tell you another thing that I found out 2 Sundays ago. We went on a little outing up on the Golan. And I found out that this hill we can always see here is actually in Syria. Hold on now. Let me see if I get that for you. There it is. That hill in the center is actually in Syria. I must find out the name of it sometime. That's amazing, isn't it? So we can see Lebanon from here. Well, basically because the hills of Lebanon are... I'll go there in a second. We can see Jordan, Syria. Actually, Mount Hermon is also shared by Syria, Lebanon, and Israel, so that qualifies for all 3. And we have the hills of Lebanon back here, so I won't take time on that now. A lot of little birdies out here, dancing around. You see, the sun isn't out yet, so we're going to still walk. I'm walking south here by the lake. I'm planning to go through the neighboring property. You know, there's access along the lake. So we'll talk softly going by the intern's house, although, yeah, they won't be up this morning. Or maybe, probably not, no. Because there's no studies going on at night time on Saturday night to Sunday in Mexico, and they do their studies online. And then well, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody is doing the breakfast this morning. I don't know their schedule. So we're also getting closer. The light is increasing over there, but it's still not going to be sunrise for a little bit. We can take another look here at Mount Arbel. Follow that crow there. So here we are with all these bougainvilleas. So beautiful. Oh, look at the two colours. We have the red and a more purple colour as well. You want to get up close to them? I'm always intrigued, by the little centre part, because it's so small. If I put my finger in there, you see that centre part is so small. And such design. And imagine then the DNA inside and the way that's all designed, like it's microengineering, maximum. And if you think that was a big deal, I want to show you the colour here first, just to stay on that theme. But then we have seen these before as well. These are also flowers, look. Look at that. And now look at my finger in there. Look. Look at the structure of this. Hey, you guys up there, these birds coming along, they want to get me to show them on camera. Oh, there we are. We were the wrong side for the colour. And so the sun is getting closer. I'm going through this little area here. I haven't ever seen snakes here, or scorpions. That's Soter. Hello, Soter. Let's see closer, Soter a little closer up here. You see? She wanted to be back on sunrise stroll and chat. If she behaved a little bit better towards others, she could be free, but she discriminates. So we can't let her loose. And she harasses people. As nice as she is, she harasses little children. Isn't it amazing? They probably reveal nervousness quickly, and then animals are always aggressive towards people who are nervous. Look at that flower. Again, I'm stuck for the names. This is the trail marker. So you see the trail goes through here. The water is still into here. So the water is still just about a metre, and I didn't check the report on it for a while, but it's just about a metre, like that's just a rough guess, below the maximum level it reached this year. There we are. I'm through, people. Breaking through here. The weeds are growing a lot. There's very little traffic here now because the water is high and because of all the corona restrictions. So normally there are a lot of hikers going through here, but that ain't the case this year. When the human being stops using the normal paths and structures, they decay very quickly. It's amazing. So this is a park area, so it's a pity sometimes people leave a lot of trash. And it's so easy for everybody if they picked up their own trash. Had an extraordinary encounter yesterday with a man who's, oh, there's the sun, with a man who swam from Cyprus to Israel with some companions to raise attention to pollution and plastic in the oceans around the world. And then he swam from San Diego to Tijuana because there was a major crisis a number of years ago over children that had disappeared, about 200 or more than 200, and he had 12 people. He's a Jewish guy, and he went. There was one Israeli with him, and there were 12 people from around the world with him, and they swam from San Diego to Tijuana. And it's amazing he told me such lovely stories. We're going to get him on camera one day here with Sunrise Stroll and Chat. So he also swam across the Dead Sea from Jordan to Israel. Can you imagine freestyle? And they had a total face mask. And amazing guy. He was here with his wife and children. Had a beautiful visit yesterday morning. Wow, there we got these birds. So this is a camping area. 2 weeks ago was filled with people camping here. Since school started, people are not around anymore. It's amazing people leave that water bottle there, you know. What a pity. Oh, I love the sound of waves. And there's no wind, so I'm not sure how those waves are being created. This place is filled with people swimming, and you have 2 signs here prohibiting swimming. They're not here now swimming, but oh, look at this little cat. It's like a Manx cat, she lost her tail. You see all the lines for the swimming. So I guess there is a sign, because one sign was blue and it says you can swim, and then the other sign was red and says you can't swim on the other side of the line. That's the whole point. So this is good. So let's stop here for a moment. Where is this guy sitting? He's very close. Oh, there he is. He didn't want to be on camera. He didn't sign the weaver. There we got 2 more coming at us here. And went off in the other direction. So let's stop here for a little bit. See why this guy's doing the call to attention? There's no need for that, you know. It's such a beautiful beach. Ain't that gorgeous? So people, we've got a huge, rich, delightful, extraordinary menu this morning. So I hope you're hungry for the word. It's amazing, it's so delightful. And we're remembering a lot, you know, I didn't comment at all on it, so many things in your head, you know, in my head. But I'm getting a lot of pieces about the fires in California. It's so sad, all that destruction, all that, you know, the human being feels so out of control in front of fire. It's amazing, it's spreading so wildly. And all the damage it causes, and the loss of homes, so many things. Now, the reading today is amazing. It's from the book of Sirach. And the book of Sirach is probably a tad less than 200 years before Christ. And it's actually not officially in the Jewish canon, and the academics give different reasons for that. But it's an extraordinary book, and it did exist in Hebrew. It wasn't thought to have existed in Hebrew originally, that it was a Greek composition in Alexandria, but it turns out that in Qumran Dead Sea Scrolls they did find many, I think 4 or 5 different samples of it. So it was abundantly read, and it was filled with authority for the Jewish people. And you see, the canon is also something that was formed gradually. So many experts feel that it ranked in great authority. Another reason why maybe it didn't have the full canonical endorsement in the Hebrew community was because they kind of knew the people who wrote it, so there was still the very close human element, and the grandson did some editing or wrote a prologue to it or something. So it takes a while for these things to get established. So there are all these human elements involved as well. But listen to this, people. Listen to this. And if it was authoritative reading in the first century, then we know somebody who might have been reading it and familiar with it. Wrath and anger are hateful things. Wrath and anger are hateful things. Yet the sinner hugs them tight. The vengeful will suffer the Lord's vengeance. Wow. For he remembers their sins in detail. Forgive your neighbor's injustice. Then when you pray, your own sins will be forgiven. Wow! Could anyone nourish anger against another and expect healing from the Lord? Wow! How many people are praying to God for healing? And not just because of corona, but cancer and so many other things. And here we have this line, could anyone nourish anger against another and expect healing from the Lord? Because anger towards somebody is an aggressive, wounding thing. It hurts. And I want healing, but at the same time I'm hurting somebody. Okay, they hurt me a lot. I'm filled with wrath, with anger. But now I'm very sick and I need healing. And I'm praying, Lord, take away this corona, take away this cancer. But I'm angry. So I'm in the process of simultaneously hurting somebody and asking for healing. And then the book of Sirach addresses this question. Could anyone nourish anger against another and expect healing from the Lord? Could anyone refuse mercy to another like himself? Can he seek pardon for his own sins? If one who is but flesh cherishes wrath, who will forgive his sins? Remember your last days. There's great wisdom in that, you know. In every action that we do, we're remembering where we're headed. Like, just let's say you're getting into the car to drive. Or you're walking from your house to the local shop. Remember your last day. So remember where you're going, because if you didn't remember where you're going, you say, well, why am I walking? I forgot what I'm doing. You know, it's like that when you're at the store sometimes you say, I wanted to get one more thing, I forget what it was. But imagine forgetting completely what you wanted to do when you got to the place you were going. Remember your last days. So the same for the whole of life, to remember our last days, to remember where we arrive at the end of life. Remember your last days, says the book of Sirach. Set enmity aside. Remember death and decay and cease from sin. Think of the commandments. Hate not your neighbor. Remember the Most High covenant and overlook false. People, when I read that last week before I did the German stroll and chat at sunset, which is done on Friday evenings, take a look at the sun, because we're going to go the other direction for a second. And the reason is I want to hide all the garbage from you. So when oh wow, I was just 2 yards away from one of those green ones. He's sitting up here in this tree right now. So anyway, when I was preparing this chat in German, this reading hit me, and it triggered a thought that's often happening when reading a text from the Hebrew Scriptures. And the issue is the following. Jesus was very familiar with the Scriptures. That's absolutely, totally clear. So he was reading this text. And you look at the Our Father, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. This is 100% present, that line, in the book of Sirach. 100%. Isn't that amazing? It shouldn't be amazing really, but I'm always fascinated by that. And we see that over and over and over again in so many different aspects of Jesus' teaching. And we shouldn't be surprised because he's obviously coming from the Jewish community. And that's his education, that's his background, that's the spirituality, that's the teaching. But it's good to be aware of these links. Sometimes we forget where we come from. And sometimes we underestimate how much we're bonded with others. I remember once when I was working in Germany, in Cologne, there was a huge poster in Cologne because at that time there were some people who expressed I'm going out over this wall here, people, so just so you understand. Well, actually, I'll go through the corner here, and then it won't be as high, and that'll be easier for you to go out with me. Those are the same little ones that were always noising over there around the construction area. So this is why it's very important to read the Scriptures. And this is why St. Jerome once said, and he's the one who translated the first huge translation, big translation that was standard for about 1500 years, St. Jerome said that ignorance of the Hebrew Scriptures is ignorance of Christ. And he said that the Hebrew Scriptures blossom fully in the New Testament, and the New Testament is hidden in the Old Testament. So we got to become familiar with both and not separate them. And that was actually a huge crisis in the church over that early on, because sometimes people just took a few lines out of context, or many lines out of context, and said, we have just the New Testament as Christians and we reject the Old Testament. And the church said, no, this is not how we received our faith from Jesus and the first generation of disciples. Because Jesus was steeped in the Hebrew Scriptures. Is this a nice spot? We're a bit close to the road, so it's a little noisy. But let's go back to the teaching of forgiveness. That teaching of forgiveness is so important for us. And Jesus has a mighty parable that's very well known, and you'll have it there in the link. of the man who was pardoned after he begged the owner or the king for mercy, and he was pardoned abundantly, completely let go free, and yet he throttled and was throwing his companion into prison for a much smaller debt. And then his companions rose up against him and said, report it to the king. And the king obviously took action. How our forgiving of others is linked to our being forgiven. And an image that I love to understand forgiveness is when you see a forest fire, and the damage it causes, and the hillside is completely blackened. It's amazing how nature comes back again and grows again. And there's not much that the human hand does toward that. It just happens. It's the power of nature to come back and to grow again and develop again. And forgiveness is the key for us after the harshness and damage and brutality of evil. Forgiveness is the key for us to flourish again, for growth to come in our hearts. I'll never forget the wonderful conference we had in Jerusalem, an interfaith conference with Muslim and Jewish and Christian speakers on forgiveness. And it wasn't the speakers of theory. We also had that, very high level. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks of England, the former chief rabbi of England, participated. And Cardinal Tagle came from Manila, the Philippines, gave an extraordinary talk. And they're all online. And maybe I'll have to put up that link for you to make it easier. And Dr. Enright was the great mind behind this conference. And the testimonies that were given by local Muslims, Jews, and Christians about their experiences of forgiveness, so powerful, had suffered incredible injuries. Forgiveness is possible, it's real, and forgiveness is actually the key out of prison for the person who has suffered injury, because we are not only hurt by injury, but sometimes we lock ourselves into a bitterness toward people who injure us, and that creates a poison inside of us, and that bitterness infests us and corrodes us and corrupts our happiness, our life, our psychology, and we need freedom and healing. And the path is forgiveness. Forgiveness is a path of salvation. Wow. Filled with light. A path of salvation filled with light. That's a line, that's a keeper. Forgiveness is a path of salvation. A path of life in the midst of great difficulty, great suffering. May you be blessed today to give forgiveness to somebody who has hurt you, maybe a little way or very a profound way. And that before, we're not able really to forgive on our own. It's sometimes very difficult, so we need to ask for help. It could even be human help and counsel, but to ask the Lord for help. Father, forgive them. They know not what they're doing. Father, I can't forgive. Help me to forgive. Father, start off and you forgive them what they did to me. I can't forgive them yet, but let's do this first step today. Father, you forgive them. People, it was just great being with you. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful sunrise. Delighted to have you. Thanks for your faithfulness and spreading the word. Many people are being blessed. I get lots of private notes, and many of these people were not on at the beginning, and they only know about it because of you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it with them. You are helping a lot of people. So have a blessed Sunday. Enjoy this beautiful day. And good night and a good rest to all those people on the west coast of the Americas who are going to bed. See you later.